While loops. The while loop will execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. Just like in for loops, break and continue can be used to step out of the loop. So break steps out of the entire loop and continue steps out of the current iteration. The else statement can also be used to run a block of code after the while loop is finished. So if the while loop's condition is no longer true, the else statement can be used. So to write a while loop, we first need to have a variable. So let's call it I and assign it to the value 0. And then for the loop, we write while I is something. So while I is less than 5, for example. So while I is less than 5, let's print something. So here is what will be looped over and over. So the statements that will be looped. So let's just make it print I. And since we need it, it will only run this when I is less than 5. And if we want I to have a different value each time, we can say I is equal to I plus 1. So first I is equal to 0, and then it will go through to run these two because I is less than 5, and it will print I, which is 0, and then I will be equal to I plus 1, so then I would be 1. And an easier way to write this is to just write I plus equal 1, which means that it will plus 1 each time. So if we run this, so it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 because this will only run if I is less than 5. So since I starts at 0, it needs to end at 4 since it adds 1 each time. So we'll type 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now if we want to use the break skip statement, let's make it get out of the loop and stop the whole loop if I is equal to 3. So then we type if I is equal to 3, then break. So if we run this, it would only go to 0, 1, and 2, since 0, 1, and 2 would be fine, but when it gets to 3, it would go through if I is equal to 3, and it is equal to 3, so it break. And break stops the whole loop completely, so it would only print up to 2. So now if we want to use the continue statement, we would have to replace break with continue. And continue basically only steps out of the current iteration of the loop, not the whole loop. So if I is equal to 3, it will continue, so then it wouldn't print I, but I wouldn't plus 1 either. But we need I to plus 1 or else it won't go back because I is still the same thing. So we have to move this statement before the if I is equal to 3 so that I can increase without being affected by the continue statement. So if we run this, it will say 1, 2, 4, 5 since I is equal to 3 is skipped. We can also have else statements. So at the end of this, it will say while I is less than 5, it will do all of this. But if we have else, that means I is not less than 5. So after I plus 1, then it would go to else since I is not less than 5 anymore. So let's make it print I is no longer less than 5. And let's do, instead of printing I, we'll print a text. Let's make it print hello there. So it will print hello there as long as I is less than 5, and since I is equal to 3, it will continue, so it will skip 3. But let's not have this, so just delete this. We're just testing else this time and these two prints. So if we run this, it will say hello there, hello there, hello there 5 times since it goes from 0 to 4. And then it will say I is no longer less than 5, and then the whole thing stops. So this is how while loops work. While loops, you have a variable, and the statements would only be run if the variable is true, or if this statement is true.